It is your favorite weekend show, We Can Deal. And this conversation, I would say, started yesterday, because yesterday it was all about citizens' rights and responsibility. Today we have dovetailed into nation building as a collective responsibility. We must do it together. We must be intentional about the Nigeria we want to live in, the Nigeria our children will live in, and the Nigeria we want to boast and see. To start our conversation is our backgrounder by Sufyan Mohammed.
Nation building is not just the work of leaders. It is the responsibility of every Nigerian. Together, we hold the power to shape the future we desire.
The quest for nation building is beyond government policies or political actors. It is one that these collective hands on board, starting from the local farmers in the village down to our tech innovators in Lagos, to the ordinary man on the street, to those who are dealing with smaller businesses, to students and every other individuals. For a nation like Nigeria, who is well over 200 million in population and over 250 ethnic groups, we need to put aside our differences, because if we begin to put these differences together, it fragments us as a unit. We need to imbibe trust amongst ourselves. We need to put other differences apart, like religious differences, tribal differences, or social differences. It is what an individual can do to better his or her life.
We have seen moments when unity was stronger than division, when we stood together as one people.
For me, the spirit we have always carried, especially in terms of international competitions or events, where Nigerian seems to do, where the participants seems to do Nigerian proud. It becomes the collective quest for everybody to celebrate and be happy about Nigeria. I wish we could all imbibe that spirit in our daily lives. We want to see ourselves as a united entity. We want to see ourselves as one people, one nation. But yet again, if I cross from my state to the next state, I begin to face the challenges of indigenship of that particular state. Why do we have those? Why do we have to have those bottlenecks if we want to make progress as a people? Why can't an Ijaw man from Rivers go all the way to Maiduguri and become whatever he wants to be in terms of leadership or business or whatever? Why can't the Fulani man from Adamawa go to Lagos and even participate in leadership and all of those things? Why are those lines drawn across indigenous lines?
But beyond celebrations, nation building is a daily duty. It is how we teach, how we firm, how we serve, how we care for one another.
The little everybody does, you understand, if brought together, can actually give us that leap in trying to achieve our quest for nation building as a nation. Nigeria has come a long way, and there has been these past years of decadence, whether morally or in terms of leadership ethics. Now, if we want to focus on the way forward, I think we need to begin to change narratives, and it starts from within you and me as a persons, you understand. We need to begin to see our nation, Nigeria, as that entity where will be conducive for me, for you, for our children, and for our children's children. And this doesn't happen like a magic. You understand? It takes sacrifices from a lot of persons. It takes understanding. It takes trust.
Yes, there are obstacles, hardship, mistrust, division. But those shared dreams of peace, progress, and dignity still matter.
We also need to understand that if we fragment ourselves along cultural or tribal lines, it separates us as a unit. When people come out to say Nigeria is the giant of Africa, it is not because we are the most tech innovative. It is not because we are the most developed nation in Africa. It is not because we are the most decent nation on the continent of Africa. But it is because of our numbers. It is because of our size. And that, to me, should be an advantage to all of us. It is something we should build on, and not something we should work towards dividing. Because by the moment we become divided as a unity, that title of being the giant of Africa is gone, to be taken away from us. And that is as simple as that.
Nation building begins with us, in our homes, our schools, our daily choices. Our unity is our strength, our collective effort, our hope.
It's been great keeping your company on the show. We have taken off with that amazing and in-depth background feature. And we now welcome you to the program proper. And our guests have started to arrive. This is one lady I know you've been yearning to meet because over time we've got to see her in different places. She has the way of getting into the nooks and crannies of Nigeria and beyond. Well, today she's here. And who do you think she'll be answering a lot of your curious questions about Nigeria, its growth, development, and more. It's our pleasure to introduce and warmly welcome Faith Wadishi. She's a bundle of many interesting proportions, but what really irked me and got me very curious about her, she's the first female to make a first class, a distinction in civil engineering in Abuja Polytechnic. And that is what forecast and presented a very interesting future, such that we have her here today to talk about our collective responsibility in nation building. Her profile is now.
Thank you so much for having me and for the warmth. Thank you.
Okay, we're talking about Nigeria, and we're talking about nation building being a collective responsibility. You know, so there are some Nigerians watching us and say, I'm a street sweeper. I'm nobody. How do I join? I'm not even a leader. Nobody knows me. How do I build a nation? So who and who should build Nigeria? And what can you do in your corner to contribute to building Nigeria? Let's start from there.
Thank you so much. Everybody, every Nigerian, if you're a true Nigerian, you should contribute your quota to building Nigeria. Because from your little corner, a lot can happen. It's just like the religious insight that you have, that unless a seed dies, it cannot grow. True. So you see that seed, as small as it is, you know, it has to die, and then it gives you a lot of fruits. So you don't have to say, because you're not part of the visible one, something happened under the ground before we started seeing that beauty. And a lot of the things that happen under the ground that people don't see. So the street sweeper, the woman in the market, the woman that is tending to children, you have a lot to do. Teachers, nurses, everybody, whatever profession, wherever you find yourself, like we are sitting down here, we're talking to people. There's somebody who is going to hear us today and be inspired. Absolutely. So wherever you find yourself at any point in time, because you're a Nigerian, and I love this country so much, there's so much potential about this country that we need to do a lot more to support this country. At the time, when I was on an international committee representing Anglophone Africa, I don't go for any meeting without putting my Nigerian muffler on. And I try to dress Nigerian as much as possible. And, you know, everywhere you go in, without even saying anything, because they see that green, white, green, they say, oh, a Nigerian is in here, is here, is here. So because you have that already, we should actually build on that. Rather than sitting down, you know, mourning, wailing. There's a lot you can do. The farmer, the woman in the village, our grandmother, our grandparents. In fact, our ancestors were those fruits, you know, that perished under the ground, and today we are the ones that they are seeing. So everybody, we are the leaves and the fruits. The fruits. You know, the thing is that it's recycles. So if you do your own, for instance, you're sweeping, and you say, oh, I am sweeping, I just finished sweeping and somebody put this dirt here. If you notice, a lot of Nigerians are becoming aware. They don't throw things out of the windows anymore, unlike in the past. A lot of Nigerians are also becoming aware that when there's a red light, people still beat that. But you see people, somebody beats the red light, somebody says, didn't you see that light? That is Nigerian. That is being the Nigerian, and that is contributing your quota to nation building.
Indeed, and everybody has a role to play. You know, it just got me thinking that if you're not doing it right, you are doing it wrong. There's no way to be a patriot and stand on the fence or sit on the fence. And we want everyone to do it right.
Yes.
Over 200 million people in Nigeria. Very interesting. The name of your NGO is You Can't Give What You Don't Have. Let us position Nigeria now. I know it's from this very beautiful ancestral roots that your fruits are being birthed worldwide, that you carved that phrase from. Are we giving the best of what we can? We often say Nigerians have that never say die spirit. Are we giving the best of what we can in terms of nation building? We say if we utilize our unique instruments, we now have a grand orchestra.
Exactly. Well, I wouldn't want to make a sweeping statement to say we are not giving, because there are a lot of people that we don't know they are giving 110%. They're giving 110%, but there are others that are not giving up to 5%. So, but that's what we have in the midst. So we need to be able to take people along, you know, carry everybody. Those that are giving 110%, we should be able to encourage them to do more. Those that are giving 5%, we need to encourage them to come on board and also do as much as they can do. I know that people tend to complain a lot, even when there are possibilities in front of you. But because you have heard somebody complaining, you have heard somebody say, oh, it's not working, you have not tried it to see that it is not working. You need to put your right foot out first, because we tend to complain. As this morning, when I woke up and I was reflecting about this discussion today, I came across a picture on Instagram. I saw the line, you know, people lined up, and I decided to enlarge that a little, and I saw that you had more people on the complaints list, and you had just 2 people on the solutions list. People who were thinking, people who wants to give more. You just have a few people. So we have a country of over 200 million people. But if you want to take the statistics about people who are really bringing about solutions, they may not be up to 10%. But people are complaining, and we are hearing all of those complaints. People go out of this country. We have people who have done so well, Nigerians, in fact, celebrating the female footballers, the women. But a few days ago, we were depressed because the men didn't do so well. But the females did well. So we need to be able, and these were females who over the years have struggled, they have tried, you know, but they kept doing their best. So at a point in time, you may feel that your best is not being recognized, and so you want to take a step backwards. That point that you want to take a step backwards may just be that point where the breakthrough will come in. So it is important that we give as much as we can give, you know, but most importantly, we also need to take care of ourselves, because you have to be alive to give. You know, you have to be strong to give.
Absolutely.
You have to be healthy to give. So take care of yourself, and as much as you're taking care of yourself, you're going to take care of people around you, you're going to take care of your nation, you're going to take care of society, you're going to look at all of those, because just like you said, you can't give what you don't have. If you're not healthy, you can't think about building a nation that is healthy. If you don't have positive thoughts, you can't think about your nation in a very positive manner. If you don't have the strength, you know, the support that you need, you may not be able to give all of that. So, and that's why also they say that one person cannot make a forest, or one tree cannot make a forest. So you need that support system. Those who are giving 5%, those who are giving 100%, we all need to have that support system, because collectively at the end of the day, when you take the average, you see that we're actually giving more than 50%.
Okay, I mean, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I see, I'm just tapping from your spirit. You are so unapologetically optimistic Nigerian, it's palpable. I can feel it. But let's talk about the big elephant in the room, and I'm talking about the economic situation we find ourselves as Nigerians. Whether we like it or not, a lot of Nigerians are facing hardship. Do you think that could contribute to what I would call building the nation apathy? That is my own term. There's nothing like that. Voters apathy. I'm going nation building apathy, where Nigerians are not enthusiastic about building their country. Does it have anything to do with it? Or our security situation, where Nigerians are laying back and saying, it concerns us now?
So you see, the reality is that we are facing a lot of challenges. And these challenges is not just about Nigeria. You have it globally. You have countries at war, you have increasing insecurity, you have economic challenges and all of that. It's not just about Nigeria. And you know, Nigeria is one country that, like we have been described as the most populous country in the black nation in the world. We have these resources that people are not tapping into. So definitely when you're hungry, my statement I made now, I said, you need to be healthy, you need to stay alive to be able to do other things.
True.
So people have all of these challenges that they are facing. But when you have a challenge, what do? Do you just lay back and say, oh, this challenge is there, oh, it don't concern me? No, it concerns you. Yeah. Because if you don't lift a finger to do something, like you want to go to sleep and you come to your room is so untidy, your bed is like that, and you say, I don't have time like that, Jerry, let me sleep. You will sleep inside and wake up like that. But you just put in a little effort and make the bed, I'm sure you will enjoy your sleep. You know, sometimes people can be so lazy, they don't want to have a bath at night before going to sleep. But you wake up the next morning, you feel worse than before you went to bed. So it's important that we recognize that these things are happening. But we see a lot of people also utilizing the small opportunities that we are having. For instance, let's take social media. People are making money. People are becoming entrepreneurs every day because of one thing or the other they are learning from social media. But people are also turning the other way, getting worse because of what they have seen on social media. So when you have these issues, it depends on how you utilize them. It depends on your mindset. Can this thing break me or make me? So if you decide, yes, exactly. If you have that mindset that, oh, I can never get out of this. You see, every morning you wake up and you begin to see things that will make you never get out of it. But you think that, oh, this thing, I can get out of it, or I can do this, I can even sell. You know, there was one time I was working in Edo State and I went to a community and we were looking for grandmothers who were taking care of children, orphan, whose parents have been orphaned by AIDS, you know, HIV and AIDS. And there was this woman we went to and we gave her 5,000 naira. She sells kola nuts. She held the money in her hands like this and started weeping. And I was like, Mama, what is the problem? She said, oh, my pikin, you see this money where you give me, so I never count this kind of money for my life. She sells kola nuts. She had a daughter who was a granddaughter who was in secondary school at the time. Stubborn girl. She had even climbed up the tree, fell down, broke her leg. She was in hospital. Do you understand? But she was trying to make ends meet. In the same local government area, Eastern Central local government area in Edo State, we met a woman with 5 children. She was blind. Her 5 children were blind. But the woman, yes, her 5 children were blind. The woman didn't give up. She was still trying to get people to support her children. We had to take her to the specialist hospital at Irua to support them. Wow. And I was amazed. I was saying, this is the kind of woman that would have sat down in her home to say, oh, it is finished for me. There's nothing I can do about it. They called a meeting. She came out to the community. That was how we even met her. Wow. That was how we saw her and identified her. She could have stayed back. So, for instance, you see people, you say, oh, there's a meeting, or there's going to be the people who first, they will sit in their house and ask, what am I going to get out of it? Why don't you go to that meeting and make your contribution and ask, what is going to come out of this meeting? You think people will go to the meeting and come to the home and share with you? You say, oh, no, I don't want to go. I don't have transport money. Please, borrow that transport money and go and make something for yourself, because you could actually meet somebody there who will say, oh, madam, or auntie, or uncle, this thing you're doing, someone can say, I'm thinking of doing this business, but I don't have money. 10,000 naira can help you to do that.
Indeed.
People have done that. So it's important that we recognize that these things are happening. But we have a nation. This is our country. Your village, your community, your state, your local government. Nigeria is for all of us. And if you don't make it what it is, we don't have, see, countries don't want us to come because we are too many. So we need to build and develop our place so that we can grow and be proud of who we are.
Indeed. Oh, that's such a powerful statement. And literally coming from somebody who has traversed the globe. So you are speaking from experience. Thank you so much for sharing. You know that you can't give what you don't have. It's a long thing. Oh. It is. It goes beyond the few words that we are paraphrasing right now. There's a lot more. And we can also continue to say, be the change that you want to see. The change actually starts with you. Someone's talking about nation building. There's an I there somewhere. There's an I in nation. There's an I in building. That's 2 I's. That 2 I's represent 200 million plus people. So that I is you, that I is you, that I is you.
Absolutely.
And the change starts with you. NTA Calabar, you've been doing the research. How much change did you find that each unique instrument who can form a symphony to build the grand orchestra that is Nigeria, how much input are we making so that our collective responsibility and impact is felt? Please share.
Nation building is the process of creating an integrated and prosperous society. It requires the active participation of citizens, leaders, and institutions.
Nation building has to do with the collective responsibilities of all the individuals towards shaping and growing the nation. With the perspective of it has to do with an individual, because every citizen in the country has a role, a responsibility.
Nation building is not without its challenges. Corruption, inequality, and social injustice can undermine progress.
Corruption is not only about money. It's even about going to work and then you get to the office late, and then you are supposed to resume office at 8, and you get to office at 9, and you are signing that you go to the office at 7:30. It's corruption. How we cheat in exams. How parents try to influence the grades of their children, even in nursery schools. We can help. How will we do this? I think we can do this by making sure that we are not involved in any corrupt practices.
It's dishonesty as a general term. It has to do with not being sincere with the little thing you are entrusted to manage, even both at home, in your office, in the church, in the marketplace, in our government houses. Dishonesty can make us not to grow as a country.
Act of dishonesty. In the moral world, dishonesty does not even have, it's not even something somebody should delve into, because it starts small. Minor theft, lies, and anywhere these things happen, there is a tendency that it will lead to a larger problem.
Every small action counts, and collective efforts can lead to significant positive change in Nigeria. By working together and embracing the power of small actions, we can build a brighter future for ourselves and future generations.
The way forward is that in any way we find ourselves, let us try to be honest, to do the right thing in this country. If we are 90% honest in this country, I think that we won't be complaining, too much about the failure of leadership or the failure of the citizens to perform, their obligations.
NTA Calabar. Thank you so much. Indeed, nation building begins with us, with me. Thank God Engineer Faith is here. Sorry, I have to call you that. You cannot go and get a distinction and you say I should just call you Faith. It don't go happen.
Thank you.
I mean, this is women celebrating women. Yes. Engineer Faith, nation building. Do you think there is a light at the end of this tunnel? Do you think Nigerians, because you said something when you were speaking earlier, you said when you see a line for people who are bringing solutions and people who are complaining, the line for the complainers is a long thing. Solutions, just 2-3 people. How do we get people to actually cross lines into solution makers or givers?
For me, I think the first thing is self-love. You love yourself, you want to promote yourself. I'm not saying you should be vain about it, but that you love yourself, and because positivity comes from within. And it comes back to what I'm saying about giving what you don't have and loving yourself as you love your neighbor. Every religion says love yourself as you love your neighbor, or love your neighbor as you love yourself. So if people understand that this part of me is only a part of the whole, and if I'm not taking care of this part, the whole will suffer. But if you think that this part is the whole, and this whole is not part of this your whole, then we are having a problem. We have a huge problem. they say that when you're passing, we used to have a family friend those days, and they had family issues, and so the woman said, oh, that when you're passing in front of a house with flowers, you're thinking of how the inside of the house will be. You don't know if it's spackle they are using inside, but because they have flowers, and then you have all the sofas you have in your sitting room, but because the front of the house is having more beautiful flowers than your own, you think that home is better than your own. So it is important that we realize that we have a great country, Nigeria. And you know, I keep asking people, why do you think that nations of the world want to come to Nigeria? Why do you think that for every international conference, Nigeria is at the center of it? Because there's something about this country, Nigeria. 36 states, including the FCT, there are natural resources we have in this country that countries are using as their own mainstay for the economy. I'm not even talking about the oil and gas. I'm not even talking about the minerals that we have. But look at sand. Some people go to import sand in their countries. We have cocoa in this country. We have palm in this country. People are celebrating Indonesia and the likes today because of the palm fruits that they came to Edo State to pick from NIFO. But what has happened to that NIFO? So it is important that people understand that if we don't take care of this part, first understand that this part is a part of the whole. You are not the whole. You are not the whole. You are only a part of the whole. And if you have an apple, there's a defective part in that apple, it affects the entire apple. No matter how you cut it, if you cut it, you reduce the whole. You will not get the entirety of it. So as a Nigerian, if you are proud to be a Nigerian, you have grown up here, you have been trained here with the resources from the efforts of our ancestors that have gone before us, you need to contribute your own quota to this Nigeria that we find ourselves. So when you have that mentality to say, oh, you know, I may not be as rich, I may not be as exposed, but the little I can do, let me contribute to that. You will see that somebody somewhere is looking at you and wants to also contribute more. Somebody wants to support you to build more. And then before you know it, we just turn around. Somebody was just talking about us being truthful. You know, let's be truthful and honest. You know, sometimes because of the environment we find ourselves, because of poverty also, we tend to compromise a lot. We tend to feel that, oh, you see, this country, if we go there, let's speak ill of our country so that they will recognize us and take us there and help us. We need to help ourselves first because we have the potentials here. We have the doctors, we have the scientists, we have the engineers, we have the teachers. Quite closely, look at the broadcasters like you that is here. Look at what NTA is doing. And I keep saying it. I keep saying it. At times when I sit down with my colleagues and we invite, you know, journalists to cover our programs, the reportage from NTA is top-notch. It's professional. It's professional. But a lot of Nigerians say, oh, I don't want to watch NTA. But I keep saying, go there and see what is happening there. It is professional. Everything they do there is professional. Until we start celebrating what we have as we will not grow. We will start thinking, those people that we are celebrating outside, for instance, like I tell my colleagues, and this happens a lot within my sector, the civil society sector. Somebody just graduates from school, either in Europe, US, Canada, comes to Nigeria as an intern, spends 3 months in one NGO, and then gets back, and the next thing you're seeing, he's expert on Nigeria or expert on the matter. You that was born here into that matter, you are not an expert on your issue. It is the person that has come here to spend 3 months to do internship that you gave information to. You even wrote report just because you don't have the technology and the AI to write it the way to be sweet like they are. They will call the person an expert and still call you a participant. So it is important that we build ourselves. And that's what I keep saying. I come from the Niger Delta, for instance. And we have a lot of people who come, oh, they're doing one research or the other. They're calling you, Faith, please, can you make this information? I said, please, when you finish, can you let me have the report so that I can read it before you publish it? The person publishes the report and just puts your name there, maybe as a contributor. That's because you insist that your name must appear there as a contributor. You now go to an international conference. That person is presenting that document and everything. Everybody is clapping, celebrating the person. I said, I was in a meeting once in the US and I told the person, he said, and then I was just about 40, and I said, see, you come and say you are a Niger Delta expert. I've been born into the issues. I'm 40 plus, so I'm 40 years an expert in the matter. So you can't be an expert on the matter more than myself, who is a Nigerian, who was born and bred in that area. So the challenges and everything that I'm seeing is about us. And the same thing when I talk about, you hear about activists, hear about experts from this, especially African countries, third world countries. We go out there. What we do, what we campaign for is because of the passion that we have about it. It's not because of career. But you see somebody that comes from maybe Europe, America, a few of them also have the kind of passion that we have. It's about career. So they come to they get a job. And you give them a job description and say, oh, I want you to focus on Nigeria and give me the worst stories that can come out of Nigeria in the next 3 years. That's your job description. You do it. After 3 years, you get another job that says, oh, I need you to give me the best stories that will come out of Nigeria. You do it because it is your job. But because you are a Nigerian, because you know that issue, you are campaigning for the issues that affect your people. So it's not about a career. It's not about career progression, but it's about campaigning that the right things be done, and that's about nation building.
At the right
patriotism.
time. At the right time.
Patriotism.
But let me take us home.
Before you take us home, my love, before you take us home, my producer is calling for a break. Yes. We'll go on a break, but the fire in the studio, the love in the studio for Nigeria is, again, I repeat, is palpable. So we're going on a break. Don't go away.
Continent and everywhere else. And good thing our messages started coming in. Please keep sending them in. In a short while, we'll share them with our guests so we can analyze them and get her expert contribution. When we were talking earlier, just before we went on that break, something starts from somewhere. You talked about your expertise as a Niger Delta, and you said it's been 40 years plus. That means from the cradle, you've been knowing it.
50.
Okay, that's from that time till now, okay? From the cradle, the Niger Delta is in you. So we know that things don't just happen. People cause them, either intentionally or inadvertently. That takes us to your base. The cradle you grew up from. Something happened in your childhood, in your home, in your community that birthed you to the extent that you have become renowned at home and elsewhere. Let us go to the homes of all Nigerians, whether in Nigeria or in the diaspora. It does play an integral role. What is the role of guardians and parents in entrenching the spirit of patriotism in those they are raising, either as a mentor, a caregiver, a parent, or even a guardian?
The role of the parent or the guardian is that same role that happens in the soil.
We are going to, we are supposed to take football bankers.
Matthew Kugbe.
I was waiting for you to call his name. Is it because he's not Osime? Is it because Matthew Kugbe is not Osime? Please tell us something about Matthew.
Matthew Kugbe is in Lagos with football bankers. Still with your permission, Engineer Faye. Let's go to Lagos and join me talking sports. But we get back to the meaty matter, the role of the home, the microcosm of that home in the larger picture. How much impact do guardians, parents, caregivers, community leaders, do they make on our young people and our youth to the extent that they can have a positive input in the society?
A lot. Because that's a foundation. A weak foundation cannot hold a building. We hear of building collapse every day, across the country. One thing is about the material that they have used and also the foundation. Sure. So if the foundation is weak, definitely the structure will come crumbling. Absolutely. So the family, parents, guardians, community leaders are I call them first responders, to building children. And we have to be careful what we say to our children. We have to be careful what we do around children. Some of these things that we say and do around them are the things that build them, into the leaders that they become. So it's important that we say less about hate, we speak more positivity around these children. It's like when you plant a tree or you put a seed in the ground, if you don't water it, it definitely will not germinate, especially if you're doing doing that in dry season. And you know, for some Nigerians, because of the economic situation we find ourselves, because of the insecurity, we can say this is like dry season. So for dry season, you need to think about different strategies: irrigation, you know, watering the plant, you know, make sure that your nursery is working very well. And so that's what the extra effort we need to put in there. You know, something happened. Sometimes we don't get it right. Sometimes we get it very right. You know, those days, and that's one beautiful thing about the African culture. The child is only the child of the mother when the child is still in the womb. But as soon as that child is birthed, you see people coming out to celebrate that child. Celebration does not mean, oh, we are thanking you. Celebration is saying we are part of this child growing up. But what we see these days is, oh, you see somebody's child outside, you want to correct the person. The parent is like, please don't go there. This is my property.
Yes.
You are forgetting that that child is part of the whole. It's important that we know that it is communal effort, and that's one beautiful thing about the African culture. You know, in those days, I like saying this everywhere I go to. In those days, when you farm, it's a communal effort, and so when somebody goes to that farm to steal, it's not that the person is ostracized or is painted black within that community. But what do we see now? Collective effort, natural resources, somebody, you know, appropriates that money. What do? The community welcomes the person, gives the person a chieftaincy title, celebrates the person. Children are seeing that. So what happens is the children will go back to the home, the food that is meant for everybody, the child will go to the pot and eat it. Because you have celebrated that person that has taken the communal, you know, resources and made him or herself rich, you know. Children feel that, oh, if I have to do this, I will grow up, you know, and people will celebrate me. Because we no longer have that punitive nature of saying, oh, this is for the collective. Let me take a little part of it so that it can go around. I rather want to take everything. And that's the mentality about thinking that you are the whole, when you are just a part of the whole. So when you know that you are only a part of the whole, you will definitely do something to protect the whole and not just protect your own part that you think is the whole.
Amazing, amazing. I would still call this a masterclass. I mean, let us look at ourselves as part of the whole. Thelma asked a very important question, the role of the family in nation building. And that's where we came here. And so the next level will be, what is the role of education in nation building? But to tell us this is NTA knowledge.
15, 14, 13, 12.
As we look to the future of our nation, it is clear that education plays a vital role in shaping the next generation of leaders and citizens.
This is the outside world for the kids, and we did design the Innovate Learn Holiday Bootcamp, which is an avenue to take the kids away from the classroom to learn from the real world. And what they have done here during this bootcamp, they learn from 4 different departments. That is agri-tech, environmental sustainability, that is learning upcycling and recycling, creative media, as well as AI and coding. And in all these 4 departments, these skills such as problem solving, developing an innovative mindset are skills that they are able to learn in the course of their learning in all the departments. For instance, in the AI and coding department, they will learn basic programming skills, and also in doing this, they will also be able to use learn basic programming skills to develop a simple calculator, a calculator they can take back into the school and use in calculating mathematics. In the environmental sustainability department, that is Ecolab, where they are learning recycling and upcycling. They are also they will also engage in leather works. They will learn leather works. That is, they will themselves cut a purse that they will sew with our instructors and they can be using. They will also learn in a sub-department there, that is ceramics. Poultry, that is just using your hands to mold clay.
In today's world, the question is no longer just about academic achievement, but about building character and instilling moral values in our youth. Nation building is not just about infrastructure and economy. It's about the values and principles that guide our citizens.
When we speak of relating collective responsibility in nation building, we have to think of different stakeholders that participate or have their part to play in building the nation, so to say. We have the governments, we have the, or we can say we have the public, we have the private, and also the society at large, thinking of the community. But in relation to what we do here at Innovate Hub, we would say we form part of the non-governmental organization and also a bit of a private organization where we are contributing our quota as a non-governmental organization into nation building, and what we do here for us is around innovation and technology.
By doing so, we can create a brighter future for our nation and empower future generations to become active, informed, and responsible citizens.
Contributing to nation building in Nigeria because we're identifying problems in Nigeria, problems either in the agriculture, in the economic sector, in the environment, energy sector, and we're assisting researchers and entrepreneurs to transform these problems into solutions that are, of course, solving everyday problems in Nigeria.
The challenges I faced so far in this boot camp is I never knew how to plant, and also I never knew how to snap. So those are my challenges. But as I came here and I started knowing how to snap, knowing how to plant things, and knowing how to operate ChatGPT.
In AI and coding, they taught me how to use Python and make a calculator. In AI, they taught us different types of AI, narrow AI, general AI, and super AI. I can create a calculator, and a website that can link to another website.
The program has helped me in some handwork like sewing, ceramic crafts, arts and crafts, a dress.
Let's work together to prioritize moral education and promote collective responsibility in nation building. By doing so, we can create a brighter future for our nation and empower future generations to become active, informed, and responsible citizens.
NTA Knowledge, you always do great in-depth packages. That was quite relatable, especially as we know the impact that quality education has on our children. And by quality, I'm not referring to just how much the school fees is. Quality teachers who take over from the parents and then hand over. We've come to learn, Engineer Faith, that there must be a symbiotic relationship between the parents and the school. Don't hand over, partner. Exactly. And after partnering with the school, there's another very important body that we need to partner with as well. That's the religious groups, churches, mosques, and the others. How much impact are they making on collective responsibility, individual responsibility, in such a way that it impacts our nation in the best way possible?
Okay, so thank you very much. Religion actually plays a vital role in the upbringing of a person and in people's perception of their nation. A lot of religious groups, and including also our traditional beliefs, our traditional religion, even though we want to sweep that under the carpet. But you see that some of the values that we have actually come from our traditional beliefs. I'm not talking about the sacrifices, but when you talk about traditional beliefs, people think it's about, you know, those sacrifices, killings, and all of that. There are things, for instance, the issue of communal living comes from our traditional beliefs and all of that. So you need to have, people have a sense of spiritual belonging. So it's either they believe in Jesus Christ, or they believe in Muhammad, or they believe in the Hindus. They have their own, depending on the foundation that the child was brought up on, and that helps you to relate with citizens, because all of this religion talks about respect for parents, respect for society, respect for one another, love of self and others. So you don't want to hurt your neighbor, because you know that the same kind of hurt will come to you. You will not be happy about it. All of these religions, they have that fundamental principles around teaching people. So the role, like you said, Helma, you know, it has to be a collaborative system where you have the school, religious leaders, and all of that. But again, you know, all of these things we are saying, you have bad eggs, you have good eggs. It is not a total package.
No.
You have some religious leaders who, either because you are rich, they give you a particular kind of treatment, and then children that are growing up now think, oh, I have to be rich so that I can be respected like this. And then the same setting, you have
rich at all costs.
Yes, rich at all costs. So you have the same setting where somebody comes into a system, and because the person is not wearing good clothes, the way you treat the person, the way you talk to people, children are there watching and listening. And it's even most annoying now that some religious homes, for instance, schools, we're talking about schools. The Bible talks about the widow's mite, and their building. You go there, you don't have money to give, but you're able to go there, carry sand, you know, help, give water to the people. But your child cannot attend the school because of the cost of the school. You know, so children are growing up and looking at all of these things. Oh, my mother went and she helped, you know, to build this church, and I want to go to school. And I say, no, we can't give your child because we don't. This school is not for special children. It's not for children with issues. We want children who will excel. But you forget that these children, their parents, and even they came with their parents to support, to build. So a lot of that, we are missing that, and that's why you see where people are saying, no, I don't want to support, so that they will not say this, you know, so I want to be in a certain class, and that's what breeds this issue of corruption, where people say, oh, it's difficult to live the kind of life, you want to live a saintly life, you want to be the professional, you don't want to do this because of the society that you find yourself. So the religion plays a lot of role around that, but we cannot be blind about the fact that you have some good eggs and some bad eggs that have come into that mix and giving wrong doctrine, wrong teaching that is also misleading a lot of people.
Interesting, interesting. Where there are good eggs and there are bad eggs, and we must know and know exactly, be focused on the good of our society. Okay, Nigerians, we keep telling you we are here because of you, and you're speaking. We'll now go to the streets and hear you firsthand, views from the streets.
Nation building is the collective way by which each and every one of us, including the government and individuals, come together to see the growth of the nation.
Nation building is about building a strong and prosperous Nigeria, and building strong institutions to actually realize that dream our forefathers really wanted for this great country.
It's a collective approach that me, you, everybody, giving our quota in making Nigeria a very proud one that can be recounted in offshores of the country.
First of all, for communities and groups to unite for development, I feel we should keep aside ethnicity, tribalism. We should all come as a team. That is the only way, because they said, I think a bunch of broom cannot be broken. So if everybody comes together to bind, to bring a force, then we can work as one to create, a good community or a nation.
Communities and groups can come together and unite in building strong institutions, bring about that unity and cohesion that we so rightly earn, and also be patriotic as Nigerians.
One of the things I do as an individual to ensure that I build my nation is, first of all, I don't like dirty environment. Like, I see some people that are eating and they're littering the community. That is one thing that everybody should avoid. When you eat, you should not be littering the place, because we are all living in this place, and if it's dirty, it doesn't make sense. And also, we should try to, avoid conflicts, avoid fights as much as we can. Just be a law-abiding citizen, pay your tax, and I think the nation will grow.
Advocating for peace and national development is one area and that patriotism. Because I feel any Nigerian, regardless of your status, if you're patriotic enough to put the country first, this our great nation will prosper by God's grace.
We are not meant to paint Nigeria in a bad situation that some are doing. We are meant to uphold the country with some level of decency and dignity.
Cooperating, among each other to make a better change for the country. And we should be law-abiding. When you follow the rules and everything is right, there will not be any form of misconduct.
That's it. Nigerians are speaking, and they are speaking from their different perspectives. Thank you so much. And now from the streets, we come to the messages from all parts of our nation and beyond. Someone says, I'm a comfort from Jos says, there's a saying that a tree cannot make a forest. So nation building is teamwork. No teamwork makes for great work. The government has a role, but the followership, those who the government is leading, have an even bigger role. If you cannot reach the president directly, or your state governor, your local government chairman, you can reach your community. You can pray for them. You can do what is right so that others can follow you. Absolutely. Thank you so very much. I'm a comfort from Jos. I will take another one. Okay, someone says, good morning, weekend deal. This indeed is the largest deal in Africa. Yes. Okay, it's a good one. You keep passing on the messages as they impact us, okay? Someone says here that they like the analysts. The analyst is Engineer Faith, in case you don't already know, and why we really celebrated her, the first woman in Abuja Polytechnic to make a distinction in civil engineering. She didn't come to play, and she's homegrown. Okay, it says, I like her analysis. She's speaking the fact, but are the people going to listen? It's our hope and prayer that the people will indeed listen. We have done our part. What is your own role? We're talking about nation building is teamwork. Teamwork does right work. Yes. But there'll be more after we take this short break. Don't go away.
I mean, you're contributing your quota to nation building. Anywhere you find yourself. If you are a musician, sing it well. If you're supposed to just clap your hands, please jump those hands and let everywhere shake. That's what nation building is all about, doing your own quota where you find yourself. And someone is here to do his own and also join the conversation. No other than Suule. It's our turn to applaud. Let's do it well. USB, USD. USB, USD. They added dollars to your name.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Nation building as a collective responsibility. My name is Suleiman Babajia Usman, and we take the papers right now. We're starting with Leadership Sunday. Police probe the deaths of 2 lovers in Taraba. Details of that on page 2. Now, how Hilda Basi made history cooking jollof rice with largest pot in 9 hours. Of course, we understand later that it was no 250 kg. It reduced to 200 bags, citing some, technical issues and all of that. But the most important thing, she did it. She's a proud Nigerian, and we are very proud of her. And very soon, we're going to have that official certificate presented.
Till 4 a.m.
She went to the streets.
New nation building.
And was giving food on the
street. It was not just the fact that people, maybe people might say people are hungry, but no, they wanted to test history.
Yes.
And to support her.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a woman. engineer, she's a woman. Let's emphasize.
Now to the leading story. How subsidy savings are utilized. Well, says governors insist they are prudent with public funds. Of course, they have come under serious criticism because of the fact that, yes, we have subsidy removed, and it means we have more resources to work with, but people are not seeing the result of this, subsidy removal. And then there's that tendency to always shift everything to the federal level. Whatever is happening at the local level, at the state level, it is the responsibility of the center, which is very, very unfair. Now, presidency to crack down on flamboyant appointees. That's interesting. The picture story says former Southern legislators endorse Tinubu at Abeokuta summit. Resident doctors strike. Hospitals deserted as patients turn to private facilities. Governor Sani acknowledges years of suffering in southern Kaduna. Details of that on page 12. Now, an interesting read here, and I want your opinions on that. Okay. Why we won't marry jobless ladies or married men?
Men are just because, sorry, forgive me.
No.
The first thing that came to my mind. It wasn't a nice thing. But, I mean, in those days, our mothers stayed at home and our fathers brought in the beacon, brought in everything. So why are they? No, I understand that things have changed and that women need to contribute. But the men are just stepping back too much. I'm an advocate of women contributing. But these men, they're no longer asking us to contribute. They're asking us to bring in almost 50-50. Why?
And even if she's not working, there's a lot more she'll be doing.
She's bringing the table.
That comfort you need, USD, every evening. Who's going to give you?
On a lighter
massage,
side, we say, we say nation building is a collective responsibility.
Indeed.
Family building is a collective responsibility.
Indeed.
Why are you running away?
So when you come home stressed.
Let engineer speak.
The head is the strategic portion of the part that thinks and does all of that. So are men also going to take away that responsibility of thinking so that they can become the neck and the women can easily become the head and think.
Thank you.
But these days, men say I'm the head of the family, the woman says I'm the neck, that the head rests on.
Yeah, exactly.
That controls the head.
Moving on now to Sunday Tribune. We start with the story just above the masthead. Adeleke orders action to be taken on Oba jailed in the U.S. Reviews policies on ongoing projects across states. Details of that on page 6. Now, Nigeria's economy not growing. Stakeholders debunk federal government's claim. Urge government to slow down on loan acquisition. Nigerians should not celebrate yet. They claim statistics out there still shows that urban poor is 75%. Details of that are on page 6. Now to Sunday Vanguard. All right, insecurity, scary statistics as jolted ex-army chief, retired generals speak out. NSA Ribadu, Nigeria will continue to pursue extremists with precision, resolve. You don't rely on the military to completely solve a problem started by political actors, General Buratai. How killings by terrorist kidnappers, separatists, can end in 6 months, by General Ishola Williams, ex-defense chief. Troops kill bandit leader Kachala in Kogi. Details of that on page 10. Also, you can find a part of the story on page 3 as well. Flood wreaks havoc in Zaria. 270 households affected. Details of that on page 3. Now, bandits rule in 10 Sokoto local governments. Deputy governors area not spared. Details of that on page 9. Of course, we've seen this picture in the previous paper about Southern Summit of former legislators. Of course, they have endorsed the president for the next tenure. Why God does not answer prayers of the church in Nigeria by CAN Chairman Adewale. If you want to know details of that, you can turn to page 26 of Sunday Vanguard. Now to the next paper, we have Sunday Telegraph.
God is answering our prayers.
We, of course.
Yes, so we need to look at that headline in context.
God is answering our prayers
definitely.
because individually God is truly answering our prayers.
Now, NCAA, why we clear the airpiece, co-pilot despite NSIB indictment. Details of that on page 7. Now, visa cancellation, diplomat slams U.S. action against Nigeria. It's shambolic bilateral relations Prof. Awurawo, Nigeria doesn't deserve this, says Ambassador Keshi. Of course, this is really heartbreaking for some people who already are in the U.S. and then suddenly they just see that their visas have been cancelled, and then it's really, really, really not nice.
It can be traumatic.
And then funny enough, you can actually be given a visa in Nigeria and denied entry just because of your social media
It has happened. Yes, it happened to one lady and she shared. But there's good news from Burkina Faso. You know, all Africans can travel visa-free to Burkina Faso. Good one.
I didn't know how you took us from one level to another.
Let us rejoice. No, let's rejoice with something. And it's telling us to depend more on ourselves within the continent.
Nation build, that's what nation building is all about.
And continent
build your
building.
nation and stay in your nation.
Well, we have different reasons why we travel.
True, absolutely.
Now to the leading story. Over 96 communities are overrun, deserted in Plateau. 2,400 households in Barikin displaced by terrorists. Governor Muftuwang passionate about return of the IDPs, says a spokesperson. Now, federal government warns China against the importation of substandard products into Nigeria. 2027, ex-Southern legislators endorse obtainable. Details of that are on page 6. Now, to the last paper we have with us, and that is a sport.
That is Osimhen
already.
What a great sportsman.
All right, Haaland speaks out on lip injury. A striker needed 3 stitches after being hit by bus door. Details of that on page 3. Of course, they will be engaged. They will engage Manchester United today in that Manchester derby. Now, Carvalho grabs dramatic derby draw 4 Bs. That happened when they drew Chelsea yesterday. Silva Chukwueze don't know teammates' name. Fulham boss explains Nigeria's absence in 1-0 win over Leeds. The Eagle Star had 2 days of training. Atlanta versus Lecce, Lookman dropped. I won't beg him to play. That says the coach. He says he must embrace club values. Arako Dare Uche makes English Premier League debuts. The details of that are on page 7. All right, that is much we can take from the papers.
Are you sure you're done?
Yes.
I didn't hear anything about the healing. You know, that guy is getting extensive medical care and research. That's our dear brother, a patriot himself, Victor Osimhen. You know, he's getting the best treatment.
Immediately she asked if I'm done with the papers. I'm just looking at the headlines again to see if I missed anything out. And I realized that I didn't.
Then you need glasses. You know, something tells me that in the nearest future, we'll be celebrating the first Nigerian, perhaps even African, to get the Ballon d'Or. And sometimes, if Victor Osimhen continues the way he's going,
and trust me, not necessarily Osimhen. We have,
excuse me,
we have abundance
sorry,
of talent in
we know
a pool of talents that can actually achieve that.
We
and
know,
me,
we know. But
Osimhen,
look at compare him. I was reading about what he has achieved at 27. Compared with what Osimhen and Ronaldo achieved at the same age. In honesty, he and Lookman seem to be closest. Before Bafemi Martins and Okocha retired, they seem to have come close. But Osimhen has won the most laurels in terms of team play internationally and locally, comparatively within his generation. No, it's Osimhen enthusiast.
You know what I was just going to say?
That's my girl. That's my girl.
Osimhen representatives, please, you have a PR ambassador here. Trust me, you need to get Thelma. You need to get Thelma. But listening, if we have time, I actually been trying to see if we can ask this question really. You know,
ask the question and her parting words.
Okay. I want to take one message.
Yes, after that you take your message and then say goodbye.
Now, this concept of federal character, has it really entrenched unity in Nigeria or deepened ethnic consciousness?
I think it has further deepened our ethnic consciousness. It has not entrenched the talents, you know, the expertise that we find in Nigeria. And I was just going to say that you're talking about Osimhen. We don't celebrate ours. Enough. Yes. So imagine where every Nigerian is rooting for Osimhen. 200 million people, for Christ's sake. If Nigeria is not in the World Cup or the Nations Cup, it's not happening. Yes. So unless we begin to, you know, celebrate our own, then we cannot say that a Nigerian can actually win that laurel. Yes. For instance, you have the talents, all the clubs are looking for Nigerians, female, male, the
time is gone, our time is gone.
So I just want to quickly say that nation building is about all of us. We need to have the spice to make it work.
Thank you so much. Woo! God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. It was great to have you. And Sule, that was amazing.
Some people want me to go down. They say if I stand, I go fly. They wonder how I survive because they don't want me to be alive. They want to bring me down, make me mad, go crazy, frustrated. But I say Lila, you know go walk. I say Lila, you know go walk. So I say Lila, you know go walk. But I say Lila, you know go walk. They think I'm the one to be used. When I don't pay all my dues, they want me to come make sacrifice. When I don't pay all the price, they want to bring me down, make me mad, go crazy, frustrated. But I say Lila, you know go walk. I say Lila, you know go walk. So I say Lila, you know go walk. I say Lila, you know go walk. So I say Lila, you know go walk. Give me back. You can never take back. You got it all over. No be true love. Get it well, my song.